All right, welcome back to another episode of Who's On First with your hosts Nick and Alex. Today's going to be a special episode. We're joined today by senior Virginia basketball manager and player Grant Kersey. Grant's a Charlottesville native who opened up his tenure as a part of the basketball team as a manager before earning the opportunity to dress for home games in the 2018 season. Since then, we've seen the same flashes of brilliance he showcased during his days dominating the floor at Albemarle High School, my former alma mater. And from his clutch buzzer beater against Marshall to his perfect shooting percentage, he's nothing shy of a fan favorite. Grant, thanks so much for joining us today, man.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me.
All right, so let's just go ahead and jump into it. So you've been a UVA fan your entire life, having grown up in Charlottesville, same as me. How has that kind of impacted your experience here at UVA?
It's impacted the entire experience. It was one of the main reasons I chose to come to school here. Just growing up here, coming to basketball games, being with my family. My family's close by. That was really important to me. So all that just kind of played into the decision. And then basketball came into the picture, and I had the opportunity to be a manager, and I knew it was too hard to pass up.
Yeah, for sure.
And first of all, thanks for being here.
Definitely.
And did you have any prior family members who went to UVA?
My dad went here.
Okay. Very cool. So next question, just want to ask you about your duties as team manager. And what has that role been like for you, and what do you specifically do for that job?
So it's actually a lot of different tasks. Each year we have 10 managers, give or take. Sometimes there's an extra one less, but around 10. And our duties just range from, a lot of people do stuff like in the offices, like the helping like stuff mail outs or anything that the coaches need. Doing a lot. Some of them do a lot of video stuff, like breaking down filming practice, kind of cutting it, putting it into like what drills the guys are doing, and then some guys are like the on court stuff, which I've been fortunate enough to do more of that. Just kind of help like do drills, play defense when we need, or be on the green team, kind of run the other team's offense. But we usually show up an hour before practice to get all like the equipment out, tape on the floor if we need like extra lines or like a deeper 3-point line. Like when we college changed like to the FIBA rules, we like had to tape the 3-point line at first. But we set up and then we just help rebound, kind of make sure practice runs smoothly, help out in the drills when we can, and then rebound after practice and then take the equipment off.
Got you. I guess kind of going along with that, how do you like personally kind of juggle like all the different practices, like different responsibilities, classes, like how do you manage to kind of just juggle all that? Because that's a big time commitment.
Right. So we have to have like all our classes are in the morning. So we go pretty much from class straight to practice and then do homework or anything you need to get done after that. So it is tough at first, but it kind of helps just because you know when exactly you have to get your work done.
Yeah, for sure.
Like before I started, there was like my first year was like a month of school before I got the job as a manager, and I was kind of just like I didn't have anything like making me get my work done, so I just do it like the night before.
Right.
Still have enough time to get it done, but and then once basketball came along, you have like time management. You know, like okay, we have an off day this week on Tuesday, so I need to get my work done this through Friday, so I'm not stressing it later in the week.
That makes sense. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So we know that you were featured on ESPN's Top 10 for hitting that buzzer beater against Coppin State, which must have been super cool for you. So what has life been like after that shot plus the national championship?
The national championship, honestly, it still doesn't feel 100% real. Like walking into the arena every day and like you see the banner and like it sets in, or you see somebody around grounds like wearing a national championship hoodie or a shirt, and you're just like, wow, like we really won that. Like I remember watching that as a kid every year. Like, oh, that'd be cool if Virginia made it. Like that'd be sweet. Like we have a chance, and then to be a part of the team that made it, like that was more than I ever thought would have happened. But it's awesome. I mean, it's such a great feeling.
Yeah. I mean, I remember just growing up in Charlottesville
too. Yeah, you would know for sure.
Going to all the games, man. It was rough for a while, you know. We'd have all these tournament aspirations every single year, and then every single year something would happen.
Something, right? Exactly. So
and then obviously you've got the game against UMBC, but I think
it just
that
adds to the story, though. Right?
Back,
exactly. You know? It adds to the story.
Yeah. So, as like a player, from a player's perspective, so obviously we won the national championship, and that really, I think, for me at least, it proved a lot about our system. You know, a lot of people said that the Bennett system couldn't work to win a championship. Right. Obviously, we just proved that. But like, how do you think personally that the national championship title has like affected the culture of the program? And like, is it like kind of like a sigh of relief, like, oh yeah, we finally did it, or is it is it like a big motivator? Like, let's keep going. Like, we got to go even harder so we can keep up this excellence.
I think it's more of a motivator just because we all knew it was possible to win a championship in the system that we were playing in, and now it's just like other people have bought in as well. So it's just kind of motivation for us just to try to like now pursue another one and kind of keep that level of competition and perform where we know we can perform.
Do you think it's affected your recruiting at all?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it definitely helps.
Yeah,
it definitely helps. I mean, you can't argue. Like, you go to recruit a kid, you won a national championship. Like, you can't argue against that.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it also comes down to the coaches. And Coach Bennett and his coaching staff are really good at what they do.
Yeah,
and at the end of the day, like, they're all great guys. So, like, that means more in recruiting just because they can connect more to the families. And the program's coached in the right way. And now, I guess if kids buy in and know the system works more, that helps. But he recruits people that know that are going to play this system and who believed in it even before the national championship. So
right.
Yeah. So speaking to Coach Bennett, from your perspective, what makes Tony Bennett such a great coach?
It's just everybody asks me that, like, they're like, is he really the same person as he is in the media? And like he's exactly the same. Like, for him to do what he did for a kid in my position, like as a manager, but to also dress me for the games, like that just speaks to like his character. And like he literally did it to like reward like hard work as a manager. Because a lot of work as a manager, like, people don't see it. It's a lot behind the scenes. Like, you're doing a lot of like kind of just grinding to get stuff done.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. It's a thankless job.
You're loading the plane. Right. And that's what they say all the time. Like we thank you guys so much, but like this is gonna be a thankless job. Like most people are not gonna see the work that you put in. Like, you like load the plane, you unload the plane, like you're getting the food on the road, like you're doing a lot of little stuff. So for Coach Bennett to do what he did for me and to give me the opportunity to play, like, when I say it's like a dream come true for me, like, I know some people say that's like cliche, but like it honestly is just being from here, and like it just speaks to his character and like how he coaches and the type of man he is on and off the court.
That's amazing. And more to what is Coach Bennett like on the court, like during practice and
like the behind the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes stuff. Like, is he really attentive to detail? Is he
super attentive to detail? Like, that's like break down everything, kind of going one drill to the next, whether offense, defense, like. You break it down to every small aspect, and you have to get that down before you can build up to the bigger aspects. And like, if you don't get it, like, they're gonna drill it into you and make sure, because it's a big learning curve trying to play a defensive system. It's a huge learning curve,
definitely,
especially for the young guys.
Yeah. And how are the? I mean, we can move on to some of the new freshmen. How have they been handling the transition? How have they been? Transitioning to the new, offense and defensive schemes that they've had to learn. And I know it's a big responsibility, and some are going to be thrust into big positions this year.
It's a young team. It's a super young team. The young guys look really good. I mean, it's obviously a learning curve, and just like the intensity, the speed of the game, the strength of the other team, like everything is just like a next step from high school. So, but they look good. It's really interesting to see like them in the summer and then in the fall and kind of see their progression throughout their like first year and two. But they're looking really good, so I'm excited.
Yeah. So I guess more specifically then, is there anyone who's like really standing out in like practice and scrimmages, or like just someone that you've like personally been like really impressed with so far since they came here?
I guess like.
So they're not trying to like put you on the spot.
Right. No, you're good. Everybody looks really good, so like it's kind of hard to answer, but it'd be exciting to like kind of see, just because it's a young team. Like, there's going to be opportunity, like, for playing time for a lot of new guys.
Yeah,
like, you know, you have Mamadi and Kihei and Jay and Braxton coming back, but, like, we lost a lot, and especially, like, the guard position, so it'd be really interesting to see.
Yeah.
Like, now's, like, the opportunity for the young guys to, like, step up, and, like, there's their chance, so we'll see what they can make the most of.
Yeah, there's an opportunity for that fifth starter to see.
Exactly, So
who's going to fill that role.
Be excited to see if it's a young guy or if, like, especially, like Cody, he's one of, the few guards coming back, so it'll be exciting to see.
Kind of going a little bit off that then also, I was just kind of like wondering this because, I mean, we lost, obviously, Jerome, Hunter, and Guy. Like, those are three amazing players.
Right.
So, like, this year, I don't know if you can really speak to this as a player. Obviously, I know Ben and the coaches would know this, but, like, do you know how like, your schemes are going to be, like, this year in terms of, are you going to be relying more on guard play with some new guards, or is it going to be more focused on, like, Huff and Dikite and kind of more in the post?
Right. I mean, that's a great question, and I think it's honestly kind of hard to tell. It's just kind of be who steps up and kind of where. I mean, I think some nights it'll be in the post and some nights it'll be more with the guards. It's just kind of like with our system, like it's like it was even like that last year. Like every night was like a different guy who kind of like had their night, and it wasn't until like almost like, I think it was like the national championship game where Kyle, Ty, and Dre kind of all played like really well like together. And so it's that just speaks to, like, the system as well, and like kind of how team oriented it is. Because when one guy's having an off night, another guy's gonna step up, like both offense and defensive end. So it'll be exciting to see. Because some nights it will probably be Mamadi and Jay, or some nights it will be Braxton and Keegan.
Right.
So it'll be cool to see.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm too. And like Nick
So-
was saying, the front court is pretty heavy now with, Jay Huff, Mamadi, and I mean, Jay Huff is always like, he was shooting last year from 3, and
Right.
he showed his range at multiple points in the season. But for Mamadi, I know that was pretty big, and I know he's been working on, that's one of being,
Right. Yeah.
putting his name in the draft and getting looked at by NBA teams. I think that was a point of emphasis that
sure,
he needed
yeah,
to
for sure.
improve on.
Right.
And I think, especially with the blue and white scrimmage that just took place, I think there's some like range, good range that is like. Some of the players are expanding their range, which is really good to see for the season.
And that's why the whole you can enter the draft and still come back to school process is so beneficial for the players.
Yeah.
Because they can enter and they can work out, they can get feedback and
Right.
work out over the summer and do all this new stuff that they wouldn't be able to do in past years, and they can use that feedback and then have a better college season because of it, and then set
that's
themselves up
important
better
experience.
for it. Right,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
And leadership wise, has that experience impacted Mamadi a lot, or has with obviously we talked about the big 3 leaving, who's going to be able to step up
Right.
in
No, I
that
think
area?
that experience, it helps both on and off the court, leadership and being able to just kind of do what you're supposed to do on the court, I guess you could say. But for Mamadi, for sure, just because he kind of I guess everything helps to kind of build your game, and the better your game is, the better chance you can see more, and especially help the young guys too. So I think that definitely helps with leadership quality as well, which is really good. So.
Yeah. Okay, so one question that I just wanted to ask, because I know you said you all had 10 managers or so.
Yeah.
So do you see anybody? Because obviously this is your senior year. So
Right.
do you see anybody who's potentially gonna step up to maybe the role that you're in right now? Might get dressed
That's
you got
definitely
someone who's
possible.
up and coming.
It's definitely. You got kids like Matt Palumbo and Chris McGarren. You got kids that can play basketball.
Oh yeah, I played with Chris.
Right,
before.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, in high school. Yeah, exactly. So hopefully it opens up the opportunity for kids like them, just because I know how much it's meant to me, and for to have somebody else experience that as well, that'd be so cool. So
Yeah,
hopefully, but
definitely,
we'll see.
Definitely. All right. So we got we just got a few more questions. Just going to be about next year, just kind of predictions. So obviously a lot of people are calling this year kind of a reloading year, just because we lost so much.
Right.
But what are the goals for basketball this year? Or we have high aspirations for the ACC, or obviously we're always looking at getting another ship.
Right.
But just what's the general feel of what we're trying to accomplish this year?
It's same as last year. It's just new guys. You got some guys coming back who have been there and have that experience and know what it takes to get there, and we just hope that they can show for the young guys the work ethic and what it takes day in and day out.
Yeah, I'm sure we got some hungry young guys.
Right,
man.
exactly.
Yeah.
On the court, in the weight room, conditioning. You still gotta get your work done in the classroom. So it's everything. But yeah, the goals are still the same. Just play our system, play our way of basketball, and do it in the right way, and then make it run. See what happens from
Awesome. Yeah, I don't want to put you on the spot here, Grant, but do you have any bold predictions for this upcoming season?
there. Bold predictions. It's hard to kind of make predictions.
Mhm.
It's more of just kind of going to that last question. It's just kind of the goals. I guess those are kind of predictions in itself.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Okay. Awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that probably about wraps it up. All right.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we really appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Yeah,
Thanks,
absolutely.
Grant. Got more action coming your way with Nick and Alex over here. We want to transition into our segments for the week. We have 3 for you guys. We want to start off with our 30-second hot takes.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
This is probably has to be my favorite. We try and get as much information as we can in a short period of time, so it should be fun. Nick, you wanna go first?
Yeah, sure. So mine's a little bit of, I guess, a Debbie Downer hot take. I don't want to be super, overcritical, especially since, obviously after our interview with Grant, I love UVA basketball, love talking to the players. I do think my hot take, though, for the week is that I think that UVA basketball is slightly overrated coming into this season. I see a lot of different places that have us in the 10 to 12 range. Now, granted, some places have us more towards 15. and 14, which I think is more accurate. But I've seen a lot at the 10 to 12 range, and I just think that's a little bit of overkill. I just need to see more before I can kind of move us up in that sense. Like, I have absolute faith in the system and in the coaching, but you just can't coach experience, and we got a really young team, and it's just going to take them some time to kind of adjust.
Yeah, I see exactly where you're coming from. It's we've lost a lot and young guys, and I think it's just going to see how the year plays out. But I definitely like the ranking around 15. I think that's pretty solid. But for my hot take, I wasn't able to attend the blue and white scrimmage, but I did see a lot of what came out of that, and my big takeaway is my man Casey Morsell. Prior to that, he got 3 votes for ACC Rookie of the Year. Think is a little bit low for my man. D. Kite, in an interview, he mentioned Morsell and, quote, Morsell is the only player quick enough to stay with Kihei Clark when playing full court defense.
That's saying something.
Kihei Clark, one of the quickest players in college basketball. Morsell's only a freshman. He looks physically ready to be the 5th starter position with Jay Huff, Mamadi Diakite, Braxton Key, and Kihei Clark. I think he can fill that 5th role at shooting guard. He's a very talented guy, 4-star recruit. I think he's going to have an immediate impact being thrust in the starting lineup, and he can step up to replace the guard play of Ty Jerome and Kyle Guy. And I think he's going to rise to the occasion.
All right. Yeah, Rookie of the Year might be a little bit, I don't know, that's a little bit ambitious, but hey, I'd love to see it. So I guess now we're just going to go ahead and we're going to move on to our Cavalier, our article of the week. So this week, this is something new we're going to try. And this week, we're going to be highlighting an article by Kushal Patel. And it talks about how, this is talking about Virginia football now, how Virginia football's offense needs to innovate. We thought this is a really poignant article, and it was really relevant, especially after this week's win over Duke.
And the loss against Miami.
And the loss against Miami, yeah. So yeah, personally, I definitely want to give a shout out to Kushal. Like it was a really good article, and I especially kind of related with a lot of the things that were said even after our win against Duke. The win against Duke was obviously, it was a stifling win, but Duke is not a great team, so that was a must and should have won anyways. And it kind of also highlighted a lot of what was mentioned in the article. My main thing that I agree with and that I have a problem with about the Virginia offense right now is that we just don't have a balanced attack. We had Taulapapa had 2 rushing touchdowns. Perkins had 3, but Perkins was 13 of 26 from passing and had no passing touchdowns and a pick. And I just against a good team, you got to have a more balanced attack than that in order to get the win. And especially, I also, in addition to that, think we need to start to stretch the field a little bit more, which is something that you can also talk about. Yeah.
Kushal, and the way you put it, Nick, when you said poignant, I think was the best word to describe this article. Kushal had some main points. I think he had 4 points, basically critiquing the offense and ways that we can improve. Yeah, so his 4 points were diversifying the running game, spreading out the defense, incorporating Kelly and Kemp, which they're both receivers in the passing game, Tavares Kelly Jr. and Billy Kemp, the 4th, and taking more shots downfield. So you did see in this Duke game, I think comparing the Miami to the Duke game, you saw the improvement.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think, looking back at Miami, that was a bit of a fluke. That was a really
that was a weird game.
That was a really weird game for Virginia. And I do think it might be overblown to say that the running game and the running scheme improved drastically, even though we did have 5 total rushing touchdowns. And I think Nick spoke to that a little bit. And Taulapapa did have 14 carries for 77 yards. So I do like, and I did see more creativity, which was a big positive.
Yeah, definitely. 'Cause that's something we struggle with. We just have a predictable offense.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we don't really make many halftime adjustments either.
Yeah.
Just something that, like, that's what Notre Dame did against us. We went into the half up, and then we didn't really make any halftime adjustments, and they made a lot.
There's a big. I think there's a big tendency with Coach Mendenhall to stick to the game plan.
That and the offensive coordinator. I think it just needs to maybe call a little bit of a more creative game.
Mm-hmm. And I think one point I want to emphasize is the long ball. So
yeah, this is my favorite point.
So Perkins, I think his when in the first game this season, against Pitt, I commented that I feel that Perkins' arm strength has increased, and I think he looked like he had a better arm. But as this season has progressed, I have not seen any shots downfield.
Right.
Most of the passes are within 5 to 10 yards,
yeah.
And I think that defenses know that our long ball is a non-threat.
Yeah.
And so they're not respecting that distance.
Much easier to stack the box too. When you know they're probably not going to take a shot downfield, and that doesn't really help out our running game either.
And what I did like is I know the long ball is never going to be our primary weapon because that's just not Perkins' strength. So I think that can be utilized more. But I did like what I did see was some more screen plays and some jet sweeps that were done this past week against Duke, and I think that those are good. More creative, diversifying the play calling, I think that may have come up in conversation, but that Virginia could utilize the play action more so than they have.
Yeah. I think that's something we could definitely try and maybe incorporate a little bit more. But yeah, overall, really great article, and one that was like especially relevant to this week and last week. So yeah, good job, Kushal.
Yeah, big shout out to Kushal. So for our last segment, we want to do something new to the Who's On First podcast. Nick and I have scoured all things UVA sports to find our most interesting statistic / play of the week. And so I guess, I'll start off for myself. There's only one name that I needed to choose from this week. His name is Joe Reed.
And he's a beast.
The elite wide receiver and kick returner, Reed himself, he this weekend against Duke made FBS history as a kick returner.
Indeed he did.
So I want to highlight his kick returning especially. So this week at Duke, he returned 2 kick returns for 138 yards, and obviously his 1 touchdown that was 95 yards, which was totally amazing live.
Wonderful.
Totally amazing live. Sorry, you had to miss that, Nick.
It's all good.
But so right now, currently, he's the only player in FBS history to have a career total of 2,700 plus yards and a 28 plus yards career average on his kick returns. He now has 5 career kickoff return touchdowns, and Joe Reed is the best returner in the nation, and I don't know why people still kick to him because he's just going to return it. So,
yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, my stat of the week, and absolutely forgive me if I butcher this name, but Irakoze Donaciano.
Donaciano.
Yeah, please forgive me if I butcher that.
Yeah,
but the 25-yard strike in the 78th minute of the game, of the men's soccer game with the win over JMU, which is absolutely incredible. I just remember I didn't even get a chance to watch the game, but I remember seeing just the highlight on ESPN and just being just dumbfounded, just how nice of a play it was. So I definitely want to give a big shout out to that play. Obviously, it got us the win, and it was just a beautiful play.
Yeah, I think anytime a play or a player makes it on ESPN Top 10, I think it'll make it into this segment for the week.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty special.
Big shout out to that play. That was really fun to watch.
Yeah, pretty special. Well, it was a great week for UVA sports, and we had a really great time interviewing Grant, and I think for the content, that's a wrap. Thank you for listening to the Who's On First podcast with your hosts, Nick and Alex. Check us out on the Cavaliers Daily website in the sports section with a full brief, including the content covered and timestamps. Don't forget to tune in next week for more in-depth coverage of UVA sports, featuring a new guest. If you like what you heard, share us with literally anybody you know.
Literally anybody. Friends, family, colleagues, roommates, whoever.
Yep. And anyone who loves UVA sports.
Yeah.
So,
But thanks for putting your who's first. Wahoo wah.
wahoo wah.